and Horgan. Welcome back to another AK Adverse Soul review episode for today. This is going to be my review on a movie that was released this year for 2022, which this one came out back in April this year. And I really want to give you guys my personal thoughts on this release since most of my friends have already talked about this movie. Which this is going to be my review on the 2022 action comedy film, and that movie is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. This movie stars Nicolas Cage as basically as a fictional version of
Nick fucking Whoa, Cage!
Yep, pretty much Nicolas Cage is playing Nick Cage in this movie. So in this movie we see Nick Cage. He, of course, he's a famous actor from Hollywood, and for him in the moment in this movie, his life isn't going really that well for himself or his acting career, because for his acting career, some studios are rejecting him and he's not getting the roles that he's destined to play in. And for his family life, he's going through a divorce and he's not getting along with his daughter, and from all this happening to himself, he feels like he wants to quit acting for good until he gets this offer which involves $1 million to basically attend this private birthday party, which is run by this big super fan named Harvey, played by Pedro Pascal, who loves Nicolas Cage. And pretty much, of course, Nick Cage agrees the offer to basically attend the party. However, he gets caught by the CIA, which is run by Tiffany Haddish's character, which basically she asks for his help to basically spy on Harvey because he's part of this criminal underworld. So we see Nick Cage spying on him while also interacting with him, and we see them getting them into a bunch of crazy shenanigans, while we see a bunch of Nicolas Cage references thrown right in your face in this movie, and also seeing some crazy violent action sequences along the way. So that's pretty much the story of The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Now, when I saw the trailer for this movie before this was coming out, the trailers for this film did seem pretty interesting, as well as being insane at the same time from the way it looked. And for having Nicolas Cage in a movie like this, where he's basically playing a fictionalized version of himself in this movie, I thought was pretty creative, while also having references to his movies as well in a movie like this, I thought was also pretty creative. And for Nicolas Cage as an actor, I've always destined to love him as an actor since I started seeing him in movies, because no matter what he's in, he's always been a joy to watch on screen in any movie he's in, like that's either good or bad. And that's why I love the man, because you know he's such a fun actor, and even in real life he's a really fun guy. And like since in the 90s, he has made some damn good films. Even in that decade, he won an Oscar for his performance in Leaving Las Vegas, which I haven't seen the film, but I'm destined to watch that film at some point. And even after he won an Oscar, he still made some damn good films towards the end of the 90s and even in the start of the 2000s era. And while in the 2000s era, he had made a few crappy films. And then the start of the 2010s decade, he did make a few crappy films in that decade. But since 2018, when he made Mandy, it felt like his acting route in films was coming back to what it was like before, which I thought was amazing, because since then he had made some amazing. He's also made some really damn good films since after Mandy. Like he made Color Out of Space, and most recently Pig, which Pig is by far my favorite acting performance I've ever seen from this guy. Even though I've not seen Leaving Las Vegas, but again, I'm destined to watch the film. But so far, Pig is one of my favorite films he's ever been in, and I have yet to review that film. And for other cast members who are in this movie, I was really intrigued to see what they can do for a film like this. You got Pedro Pascal, Neil Patrick Harris, Tiffany Haddish, and Barinholtz. I was really intrigued to see what they can do for a film like this. And also, I did not expect this was also going to be an action comedy, because I thought this was just going to be a straight-up comedy, because it did feel like it was going to go for a comedic role, while it wasn't really going to focus a whole lot on action. I thought it was just going to be like that, although it does have a bit of action to it. But I was still intrigued to see it. I was still really excited for this movie. And so I went to see this on opening day on the 22nd of April. And my screening wasn't really that packed. There wasn't that much people in my screening who were seeing this film with me. But after walking out of it, I gotta say, this movie, I can definitely say, is another favorite of this year for myself, because this movie was awesome and hilarious. And the best way I can definitely describe this film is that this movie was just a hilarious roller coaster ride of a movie here. First things first, Nicolas Cage in this movie, he is absolutely terrific in this movie. I loved him in this movie. He's just fun and absolutely hilarious in this movie. And for himself, where he's just basically playing himself but in a fictionalized world, I really dug that. And where he also has visions of himself in this movie when he's younger in this film, which I really liked. I thought for those scenes like that, I thought were absolutely hilarious. Although it doesn't happen like all the time in this film where he has visions of himself when he's young. It just happens quite a few times in the film, which for those scenes like that, I thought they were still absolutely hilarious. And as for everyone else, like Pedro Pascal, he's absolutely hilarious as well in this film. And the chemistry between himself and Nicolas Cage was really funny when we get to see him do some bit of action and do some ridiculous stuff together in this movie. And Tiffany Haddish was great in the film, and she was pretty funny too. Barinholtz was good too. And even Neil Patrick Harris as well, he was also pretty good too. Everyone else in the film were all great. And the comedy in this film, where most of the jokes in this film is just mostly Nicolas Cage references. There's not a whole lot of references to his films, because there's other references too, where there are references to like some like well-beloved films, which there's a few that I know of, but I'm not going to say which ones for those who have not seen this film, because that would be spoilers. But seeing that, for them to be used as gags in the same gags in this movie, I thought was just absolutely funny. But for the Nicolas Cage references themselves in this film, I thought were absolutely funny. They even reference like some of his bad films. Although I do have one little complaint for that. I kind of wish there would have been some other references to some of his other bad films. There's one I knew was going to be in this film, but there was just some other ones I kind of wish would have been in this film. That was the only nitpick I had. But still, though, the comedy in this film was just absolutely funny. I couldn't stop laughing my ass off that. I almost died in the screening of this film. And the story in the film was really intriguing, because this film isn't just being made to show like nostalgia and references to like Nicolas Cage films. It just kind of mainly focus a whole lot of like seeing Nicolas Cage outside of acting like he's a family man, he's like a fun guy in real life. I really dug that storytelling. But for the storytelling, when we do see him interacting with Pedro Pascal in the film, when we get to see a bunch of crazy, ridiculous stuff in this film, it's really interesting and fun. But I really dug the storytelling when we do see what Nicolas Cage's life is going through, when we see him not doing his acting career and all that, which again I really liked. And for the action in this film, I thought the action was really fun. Although towards the final act of the film, it got a bit anticlimactic for me, but I still enjoy the action in this film. This film doesn't focus a whole lot of action, because it just technically focuses a whole lot of like ridiculous comedy in this film. And this film is really well paced too, to manage to slow down the whole ridiculous jokes and humor in this film, really. So in the end, guys, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, I had a blast in this film. It was definitely like I said, I can definitely describe this film being just a fun roller coaster ride of a film. And if you're a fan of Nicolas Cage, or if you're a fan of like movies that have like references to any other films, or if you're a fan of the other cast members or anything like that, or like action comedies, you'll definitely have a blast with this one. If you missed a chance to see this in cinemas, it is available to stream on any app of your choice, or if you just simply want to buy the Blu-ray or DVD for yourself for your collection. So that's pretty much all I have to say about The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I'm going to give The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent 4.5 out of 5. Great score. Despite having just one little nitpick, I still had a hilarious blast of a movie here. And again, I can definitely describe this film being a hilarious, fun roller coaster ride of a movie, because it definitely was for myself after I saw the film. since I'm a big fan of Nicolas Cage. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching my AK After I Saw review on The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And let me know what you think of this film, if you've already seen this film, if you've just recently seen this film for the first time. Did you have a blast of this, or was this not really a popcorn treat? So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews. And as always, this has been Horgan's Media Corner, signing off.